Hello again, guys. William here, continue with the work on the new code. So let me do something here that I want to do before. Here's the main engine. I want to create some extra files to organize better my code. Name this enumerators. Enumerators. Okay. And I'm going to put my enumerator list there instead. So I can tackle this from one place. Just easier to do like that. So now here on my code, I'm going to add numerators instead. Oops, numerators. Not the right one. Check the name. Oh, not there. I put it in the wrong place. Let me put it in the right place. It's not in here. No. It's in here. I forgot to check where I was going to write it to. So now it's correct. I'll rename it to main event, I think. Let me check where else I'm using that. Just there. And someplace else here. Oh, a lot of place. Okay, now that should work. Yeah, it's all good. So now I can add that on my external application. Engine, and add in here. Source, add existing file. Engine, source, enumerators. And I want to add two other ones. Let me check for my file in here. Because I have a single file for everything, so that gets very bloated. We're going to divide it into the process and to the creation of the. To divide, let's see. I think I'm going to divide into the process, the threads, and then another one. Where is it? Was it? I'm thinking about the main engine, which I could also divide the process block and initialization process. Yeah. Because this one is not so bad. Actually, it's the other one that's a bit crowded. So for now, I'm going to leave like this. I'm not going to mess up with this one. And I'm just going to fix a few things, and this should start partially working. Then I can move to some other small problems and start testing this one. Okay, so I don't have the close editor. I only have the open editor. The reset for, I don't recall. I have to check what's the reset for. And everything else I'm going to leave for later. Who wants the check if the editor is open? And this guy is here, not going to bother right now. Get state, set state are there. Have to rename to main. And everything else is correct. See if it's going to. I was still complaining about the main event, close editor. Should I add the enumerators? Here. B. Oh, I didn't add, of course. Need to include. Oh, it's correct. But I have to. I also have to put the actual path, the location of the file, and that's also going to be according to the Windows or OS 10 that I'm using. Oh, it's not that. This path. Yeah, now it's okay. Here's the main process. Oh, here's on the thread one. Was you complaining? Oh, of course. Forgot to remove it. You complain a few things, but macro definition of the message box, nah, that's okay. Should be okay. Now here is the one I have to also change it. Okay, process is going to be main process. And prepare to play is going to be main prepare to play. And everything else should be okay. Okay, so we have something already. Should be working, but since I have to open the editor to make some sound, so I can load some preset, could force it to load, but let's work on the editor right now. Because this guy, I find where it creates the editor. Here, it creates the editor here, which creates this plugin editor window. This guy should take care of telling the external process to open the editor. For that, I'm going to take a peek at my piped plugin code and see how I did that. So let me adjust something in here. Okay, that's better. I just want to see if it's loading something. Let me run this and see what happens. Nah, it's not working. Because it's sending something to the external process which I haven't coded yet, and it's halting there. This is going to make a lot of noise. Or not. Not running. Yeah, the auto process is not running correctly. Why the stereo is 32 bits? Oh, I forgot to put 64 bits. Not a problem, but it should be 64, not 32. And there is another thing I forgot. To remove the app from this path. I don't remember what do I put if it's 32 or 64. I know on the Producer where to do that. So let's do it from there instead. Yeah. And I just remember another thing here. That's where it creates the process. Because it has to check if the process is 64 or 32 bits. So we can do like this. Choose 64. So I have to create two compilations. One for 64 and one for 32. And on the OS 10 I just have one. That should do it. And now on my external process, where is it? I need to name my compilations from my exporters. So this is 32, I want 64, and the next one I'm going to create a copy first. Process 32 bits, and intermediate path 32, and here we go for 64. 64, 32. Wusik stage version 9, 64. I just don't know why it's creating this extra app path. But that's okay. It's just annoying because let's say I change it in here, and if I forget to change it in here, continue to save on a different path, and I never find out why the code is not updating because it's loading the old file. And that's very annoying. Let's see, process. I have a external app here and this other guy here, none of which I'm going to be using. And the process.xml file. Okay, that's good. And I can compile this guy too. Just drink a lot of cold water and it got on my throat. So it's acting a bit strange now. What I like to do at this moment, since this code is going to be very delicate to debug, I can just go ahead and create some other forms of debugging. One form is what I did on Wusik ZR. Let me see if my project is there. I'm losing my voice. Maybe I have to resume on another day if it continues to get worse. Let me check. I remember that I created a window. Create debug window variable. What's the debug window variable? I don't remember what it is. But I just create a window where I just send stuff to it. It was very handy actually. Oh, here it is. It's the debug window, which I send some stuff to it. I'm just going to copy this one up. I could create a juice module for this if I'm starting to use on more than one project. It's a nice option. But just now I just want to test it out, so I'm not going to bother. That's my window code. So let's see. Create the window and destroy the window. That's the active code. I know what it is, but I don't really need that. I'm just going to go on my main code, and from there I'm going to create it. If it's not going to complain about something else, debug window. Let me create the variable. Open pointer. The name again, debug window. Simple as that. And okay, this is going to create the debug window. Now to write to it. Remember, it's very simple actually. I just check if the message is empty, just a buffer that I use. because writing into a string that you are reading from another thread directly is a big no-no. So I want to say if the processing is happening. So what I'm going to do is check if that new message is empty, I can write something to it. Oops. Which is a string array, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is. Going to be processed, and I'm going to put the number of samples. Because on internal code, it checks if the new message has something, it copies to another string variable, so that's thread safe. That's something it took me a long time to understand when I started. I could not, the external file is not that name anymore. I changed the name. Need to process x64. Why it's doing with the old name? Because right on the top, I also check for the process file. Here it is. So I have to also put it in here. And worry about the 64 bits versus the 32 bits. Some people complain that my indentation is all wrong, but well, it's just how I learned to code 20 years ago. No, nearly 20 years ago. No, actually, no, it was 20 years ago. More than that. Oh crap, I'm old. I'm 44 now, so I started programming C++. Jesus, that was a long time. Okay, let me see. Why it's still putting on the app folder. That was a complaint before, because if I forget to remove the app, I now have two configurations to remember. Go, go, go. I'm going to say some bad words about you, my code friend. Okay, so the process is not starting because the audio is mute. I put something in here. You're not doing anything. Interesting. Well, now it's working at least. Let me close this up and see if when I open, I'm probably forgetting something. So let me check how I did here. Oh, I also did these. Okay, ready to draw. Yeah, it makes sense because otherwise it would catch me in the middle of some big string or something like that. If processing 480, that's nice. And what I want to do now, it's also load a preset, but I don't really remember how to do that. Let me see. My initialization of the code in here. And read preset. Load preset. Let me check. That's not the right name. Oops. Preset save. Load preset. It's in here. Why didn't it show to me? Where is this? Yeah. Ah, because I put read preset, of course, of course. From file, true, data void, size is 0, file name, and replace layers. So, oh, it's not void, it's new pointer and the file name. Oh, size first, and then the file name. Yeah. So let's pick a preset file name now. Oops, presets. Real oscillator. Oop, where is it? Let's see if that runs. Just a minute. Okay, I connected my MIDI keyboard. And I'm going to try. Error loading. That's no good. I'm complaining about this file. I don't get it. Let's try again. That's no good. Of course I'm doing something wrong. From files to file name. Oh, maybe it needs the full path of the file name. Just forgot about that. And the name of the file as well. The extension. So all the path. Let's go again. Let me fire up this guy. Nah, now it works. I have to check my MIDI input. It's not working. but the audio is there. Okay, I just have to check now my process code on the process block. Because of course I'm not adding something. Presets loading. Let me check my process code. Okay, that's my process. I send the automations, set the buffer size. Just to double check, I'm going to fire an alert when a process is received. Just be sure it's firing up. Where is it? Wait. No, não see an error. Oh, here, syntax error. Oh, I pressed the keypad by mistake. This happens a lot. Hey, guy. Iron IMP? I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but you can get there if you want. It just takes a lot of thinking. But you have to see version 1, man. I almost went nuts doing version 1. It was not easy. But I got it there eventually. I was showing someone the Wusik station of first screen. See if I still have it in here. There's a screen around here for version 1. Now this is version 2, version 3. This is version 1. I saw it the other day. This is Eve. Now this is all new. But I was looking at the first interface for version 1. And it's impressive how much it has changed. This is version 2 here. It's already very close to version 1. Didn't have the sequencer. Just the wave sequencer, not the groove sequencer. But yeah, it's a bit of work. But with Juice, a lot of the work is cutting, so you get there more easily. Okay, this is not good. This was stupid to do. Oh, stop it. Yeah, it's running my code. It's working. Why did I put the alert again? Oh, here. I'm just not getting any sound of it just yet. That was crazy. Do I have my process block? Okay, let me check again. I get my audio buffers from there. Seems that not getting, or either the preset didn't load or something else. So I'm going to remove from here. Go to the process block. Here where the fun begins. I'm going to put just one alert. I'm going to halt all the code and let me know if it's actually getting to the process part. As I said, I could debug this, but it's a bit it's much easier to just go like this. So, okay, it's not going to the process code. For some reason, I have to now check why. Because everything is running in here. Because I get to the process part, process block. Oh, really? This is the media process. Sorry. Process block is in here. I think it's running the process. It's not loading the preset yet. I should just move to the editor, to be honest, but I like to test things bit by bit. I just like it better. Go step by step and see what's going on. So it's really not doing anything in here. Mm, I don't like this variable plugin loaded. It's not really a plugin, it's just an internal file. And it looks like that's the problem. Let me check where I load it. Because this should always happen, so I don't have to bother about the plugin loaded part, to be honest. But, well, crap. Let me check something here. Can do just right after I have created it. As did I put? Let's complain now. Just let me check. You can check. Oh, the process is still running, so I can't compile. One thing you can do is check my GitHub. Let me put the name here for the Wusik ZR project, where I created the whole thing from zero, and there's videos on the YouTube to start it up and do everything from there. So it's very handy. Okay, now it's loading. Now it's happening. So what I'm going to do first, remove that alert because it blocks my audio path. Now here, sensor, I'm going to load the preset again. Presto! It's running now. Let me put some volume. Oh, let me change it. How do I change this in real time? I don't know. But it's making sound. I don't know how to change the audio. Let me check here. Desktop audio. Speakers. There you go. So it's working. Automation, I don't know. Oh, pitch bend works. So the communication is correct. Let me see if I close it. The other one also closes. Yeah. So it's working. Yeah. Oh, the building blocks of DSP. DSP is a pain in the neck, to be honest. But there's a place. Whoops, not this place. It's what's the name again? I'm trying to remember the name. There's a lot of stuff in there. Juice has some DSP already in the code, but what's the name? It's not in here. The DSP. Try to recall the name of the site or open DSP. Like that. I totally forgot the name of the site, but it has a lot of stuff that I use for Wusik Station, especially the filters. But Juice alone already has a lot of stuff. What's the name of the site? musicdsp.org. They changed it lately. So this one, there's even some old code from in there. It is a lot of stuff. This is very, very old. It's been around for quite a while, and it's very good. But just on my GitHub site, on the Wusik ZR code, there's already some nice filters and other stuff there. And I was, when I started, just so you have an idea, SDK library, music. Yeah, I think that's this one, the synthesis toolkit. And this is open source too, and it has a lot of stuff in there. And when I did Wusik Station, actually not Wusik Station, but my first plugin, it was the Alpha 2K with a lot of typos in the name. It was like this, the Alpha 2K instead of the Alpha 2000. And I used a lot of stuff from the synthesis toolkit, not directly, but I look at the code and created some new code myself. And it has a lot of stuff in it. It's very complete. And it's open source. It's been around for more than 10 years, so it's very good to use. So for those who are getting in now, don't forget to check the first video. So my idea here is to have two processes. One plugin, and the plugin loads the external process, which is the actual code. So if the external process crashes, it doesn't crash the host, the DAW, the digital audio workstation. And already created the first steps. If I go on my plugins, where are my plugins? Here. I should have now Wusik Station 9 DLL. That's the new plugin, which loads the external process. So let me try and see if this is running correctly. I'm going to try to the Wusik, my sequencer Wusik SQ, which is running daemon version. Oh no, I have to wait now. I forgot to unblock my own code. Lazy. So plugins manager. Let me scan. See if it's going to scan my Wusik Station version 9. Can cancel now. You can't stop now. Wusik Station version 9, 32. Oh, here it is. It didn't. Oh, it didn't scan. That's interesting. Try again. I didn't scan. Yep, it's not scanning. Oh, bloody hell. So I have an idea why. First thing I'm going to remove is the debug window. Because what's happening here? Let's remember when the initialization actually happens. Happens in here. Okay, I kind of have an idea what's going on. But at the same time, I think it's my scan code. Because it's not scanning anything, to be honest. So let me try with another guy. The P2000. This one I compiled just a few days ago, so it should be working. But I changed some stuff on the plugin manager, and it could be that the problem. Yeah, now it works. There it is, Wusik version 9. But let me search which one is the one, because I have two now. Me bypass these guys. Yeah, something's happening. I don't know what. Well, we're going to eventually figure out a few things that I need to worry about. I'm using the wrong guy here. See if it's calling the external process. Oh, it's trying to bridge my code. Interesting. And since the code is not totally complete now, maybe it's just going crazy, trying to bridge the code. I don't remember why it's bridging everything. Could be bridging everything, but it is. It's disabled here. I don't know why. So let me try Sonar instead. I hope it doesn't disrupt the audio. Oh, it's going to scan everything. One thing I was thinking about, maybe I could delay the loading of the actual plugin by 1 second and then apply anything that's being sent to the state information. That would make it scan much quicker, as it wouldn't load the external project process. Try again. Okay, that's good. Oh, which is which now? I'll try the first one. And how do I know which is one? Oh, I could check if it loaded the preset. No, it didn't load it. Second one. Oh, there's 32 bits. And it's not working yet. Well, I will get things done eventually. I'm just trying, testing the waters right now and see what works and doesn't work. But going to get some water, and I think that the 1 second delay is going to be good for scanning faster and also avoiding a few problems with some hosts. Let me think on. Oh yes, there is a lot of stuff out there. To be honest, I will just start with just regular stuff because there's already a lot of stuff done there, and with time, start getting really in depth with other research. And well, it all depends on what you need to do. Because, for instance, on Wusik ZR, if you look at the code, I use a lot of streaming, sim stream. I don't know how to call that. SIMD. We use SSE and SS2, AVX. Those things is really important for you to understand. Let me write the names in here. Because that will. Why it's not opening? Oh yeah, my streaming code blocks my Windows key for some reason. I don't know why. So SSE, SSE2, and especially AVX. Those three guys can really save your day, because when you're doing a filter code, for instance, let's say you're processing 4 voices on a synth, so you have to process a code for each voice, right? But with SSE2, and especially SSE also, but with both SSE and SS2, you can process 4 numbers at one time. And if you do everything using simmed instructions, it runs very fast. So there's a site from Intel. This guy, if I'm not mistaken, this site, it shows all that. Let's see, I want to check with AVX. So select AVX and load. All these calls here you can use to load 8 numbers from memory to a register, or 8 numbers from register to memory. And then when you start processing these numbers 8 by 8, it runs much faster. But some processors don't like when we mix regular C code with this. and it can get a little bit messy, the code especially. So that's why I created some macros for Wusik ZR. So if you look in the Wusik ZR code, let's say, where are my banks? No, wave banks. I don't want to use anymore. Oh, I created a module. Forgot. Let's say Wusik filter here. This one is using SSE. Maybe look at first, it's in, oh man, that's complicated. Actually, it's not. The first thing it loads from memory is the memory location and the voice number, because since I'm loading 4 numbers, let's say I have voice 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have this block of voices. So voice 0, 1, 2, 3. If I go here and put +0 instead of X voice, it's going to load these first guys here. If I load +4, it's going to load these guys here. And if put +8, it's going to load these 4 guys here. So it's very handy. So the next process, I'm always doing this 4 by 4. So it's processing 4 numbers at one time, and most, not all, but most of these calls are one cycle. So they will run faster compared to processing one by one. So you just have to be careful with the latency. But this site here tells you the latency. Let's say I'm loading, where is it? Load PS. I'm loading 8 numbers to the register. The latency on most computers is one cycle. So that's very fast because you're loading 8 numbers for the price of 1. But some stuff are not so fast, of course. Let me check math here. Where's the math? Let's say add. Where's the add? Oh, here. Add PS. Add on the oldest processor is going to have a latency of 4, but it's still faster than 8, which usually would be to process one by one. And I don't remember what is true output. I don't throughput. I don't know how to pronounce that. But all I can say that I did some testings with the Wusik ZR code, and using regular C code versus AVX was much faster. And to make the code easier to understand, let's go here on a wavetable. The wavetable uses some macros. So let's see a macro here. AVX code. Not exactly here. Where is it? Oh, here, filter process template. And I created a simmed code because the juice right now only have SSE code. It doesn't have AVX code, especially AVX 512, which is very advanced, but I'm not using yet. Is this guy here? Would speed up even more the process, but only expensive processors have that, so I don't even bother. So this code here is very complex, but once you get to know it, you see that it's very easy to create macros and create just one code that's going to run SSE and AVX at the same time, depending on what the processor has. So it's very handy with Wusik ZR code. And there is also, let me see if I still have that, a cheat code. It's Oh, here it is. This one is also very nice. There used to be an animation from, oh sorry, animation for Intel that showed how to use SSE, but I can't find that anymore, and I didn't made a copy. But this here, this is big, but it's not complicated. It's actually very easy to understand. The guy who did this really took the time to make something easy to understand. Because you can see here, let's say I want to load, I have my stream load alignment, and it has all the information in here. And I really want to print one day this, because it's hard to look on the computer. But it has all the SSE, AVX, AVX2, which is not very easy to find, and FMA, which is fused, multiply, and add, which is another thing I'm using on Wusik ZR. And it really speeds by 20 to 30% my code. So it was really, really nice, because it can do, just so you have an idea, close this guy up here. Oh, I closed the Wusik ZR. Here. I don't remember the latency of this call, but it's very nice. Where is it? Multiply and add. It's going to multiply those two numbers and then add a number with a single call. And if I recall, the latency is 3 times lower than what you have to do this one by one. So when you start using SSC correctly, as long as you don't break the code too much, because some processors get slow when you break the code. Let's say you are on regular floating point code, then you move to SSC or AVX code, there's a penalty for that. It takes a break from some processors. And well, that's just my advice since you are really starting, because I think if you get juice and understand SSC and AVX, you are going to get a great start already. It really help you out, because some stuff really takes a toll on the processor, man. I remember when I first did Wusik Station version 1, I was doing everything with assembly. I think I still have that code, and it was a mess, a really big mess. But it was one piece of assembly process one voice, 4 voices actually. One big assembly code process 4 voices. But it was not running very fast. It was very, very strange. And then I noticed that my calls was taking punishment too, because when you start calling stuff with a lot of variables, it starts to get slow, the code. And then I bought a very simple book that advised things that you call constantly. Don't pass any variables to that, because it's going to take a cost, and it's going to slow down your code. If I look my current code, let's say I'll go to the Wusik engine code. I did something differently. Let's say for each buffer, usually 64 samples or 128 samples, instead of calling all my stuff one by one and passing a lot of stuff, I initialize a memory that's public, and then I just call the process over and over without having to initialize the memory and tell the code where to look for stuff and things like that. So it's much, much faster. Let me see if I find it here. One example of that. I don't really recall how I did that, because it's been a while since I created this engine code. It's kind of old already. But yeah, it's pretty much here. I call the start process, and I tell which memory variable I want it to use for all the process. after that. And each process, I know how many voices I can process. And I made internally to process only 4 voices at a time. So all my calls are always processing 4 voices for samples, for samples. And this really helps because when I call something, instead of calling 4 times, I call 1 time and I store the result somewhere. And when the plugin needs to process, let's say 64 samples, I can process 4 by 4. And internally, I also process 4 voices for each call too. So it really speeds up. It's a bit hard to explain, but let me open my notepad again. Because when you have the plugin block that the host calls, so the host calls a plugin block and tells the samples if you have audio input and the MIDI buffer. I think this, you know this already. Yeah, the wave tables is always converted to floating memory because it's faster to process like that. But there's an option to keep memory as 16 bits, but it has a bit of CPU extra usage to convert in real time from 60 bits to float. So as I was saying, you have the host tells you to process, the plugin process block. It tells you the samples input. Let's say it's going to be 64 samples. And in MIDI buffer, let's say you have 10 notes there times 2, so it's going to be 10 notes on and 10 notes off. Now you have your internal code, let's say a wavetable note on. Not note on actually, but let's say wavetable process. Now you have to do for sample equals 0, samples lower than 64 samples, and samples plus plus. So it's going to process all the 64 samples. But instead, you just go sample equals sample plus 4. And here internally, you process 4 samples. And you just add a code around this to output this into a 4 sample variable. Because sometimes the samples number could be 61, which is not a multiple of 4. Could be 0. I had some hosts giving me 0. I don't know why, but I had, especially Fruit Loops, and sometimes even one sample, especially Fruit Loops Studio. So you have to internally take care of this override of 4 samples. But this speeds a lot. It's incredible how much it does speed. Or your process could not have any call in the process call, but it still has a cost. Some people put all the code in one file, but that gets very hard to manage and very hard to read and code especially, but it's also possible. But in my case, since my code is very large and dynamic, because Wusik Station, for instance, I don't know if you have played with Wusik Station before or what it's like. It's dynamic, so I can have different types of layers, and each layer has different types of modules. And the filters are also dynamic, so you can add filters, remove filters, put different type of filters. So I can have one code fits it all. I have to separate it by classes and objects and stuff like that. So, okay. For today, I'm not going to be working much more because my voice is not very good. I'm a bit a bit tired today because yesterday we had a big storm here, and I got very stressed because it got some water inside the house, but didn't break or damage anything. But it was very scary, very scary. I haven't seen that in my life, so it was the first time. Very big storm. And so I guess that's it for today. But if you want to leave me any questions or anything, you can do this on my Facebook or even on a chat area of the site. If you go on the site, you can see there is a chat icon there. Right above the help docs, if you click there, you can send me some messages there. Or if you go to the Facebook Wusik page, there's also a support group page. You can check me there, check me out there. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the ideas. Today I didn't do much on the code because now I have to do the hard part of the code, and I'm a bit tired today. My head's not working correctly. I'm just going to back up what I already have done today. And remind everybody, always back up your crap, guys. Don't forget that. I have redundancy. I have 2 external hard drives, DVDs, and on the cloud in 2 separate locations. Yeah, but it's important. Let's say a meteorite crashes into my house. At least I have something on the cloud. Thanks, guys. So